Movie fans are familiar with the term remake when a classic film is redone. Lovers of cinema are often skeptical of remakes. For example, the 2016 version of the classic Ben-Hur, which by most accounts was a failure. As we hear the Sunday Gospels throughout 2025, we're in the hands of an author who remade the story of Jesus. The author tells us today that others, quote, have undertaken to compile a narrative of the events that have been fulfilled among us. This may be a reference to Mark's Gospel, which many scholars believe preceded Luke's account. Why did Luke undertake his remake? What would be different in his approach? He tells us right at the top, so that you may realize the certainty of the teachings you have received. I like to think of Luke as a good pastor. Scripture scholars suggest that his audience lived sometime in the 80s and were third-generation Christians, Gentile converts who lived around Antioch in Syria. They were possibly city dwellers, and the rural life of a Galilean preacher like Jesus and the examples he used aren't that familiar. Jerusalem is no longer the center of Jewish faith. It's been devastated by the Romans. It is probable that these Christians came to faith when missionaries like Paul preached to them. But like Christians of any time, Luke's community has new challenges. Greek culture, Roman politics. Would that world, that culture corrupt them, or perhaps ridicule and persecute them? Plus, they've internal growing pains, problems in their community, which Luke will address. In short, these third-generation Christians face an identity crisis. Is the faith we've received true and trustworthy? How can we be faithful disciples of Jesus here and now? And so Luke has undertaken his remake. Adding his own touch to the story of Jesus, Luke will give his people a solid foundation in the Christian life from the traditions and sources they knew. Thus today, at the beginning of Jesus' ministry, he comes to his hometown of Nazareth, where he assures his listeners that the prophecy of Isaiah has come true. Like Luke's parish, we too live in a challenging world. Skeptics and perhaps some Catholics question what the church teaches. With Luke's help in the weeks ahead, we'll see how what God has been doing throughout history and how that wonderful saving work is fulfilled and accomplished in Jesus.